we saw MotoAmerica, Cameron Beaubier had just wrapped up his third national championship on a superbike. But we still have 2 races to go. And with 7 wins of the season for Tony Elias and losing the #1 plate, the Spaniard is looking to grab the most wins for 18. The penultimate Motul Superbike race is lining up right now, only on beIN Sports. It's time for the MotoAmerica AMA FIM North American Road Race Championship. Welcome to round 10 of 10, the final one for 2018. It's the MotoAmerica Championship of Alabama. And yeah, you're looking at Barber Motorsports Park in Birmingham, Alabama. As the flag flies overhead, we're setting the stage for Motul Superbike race action. And Jason, 87 degrees, a little warmer than when we started the Supersport action. Finish that up. And clouds are around, but right now the sun is just beating down on the racetrack as fans trying to find as much shade as they can around this race facility.
Yep, no question about it. I know we're a little bit late because the 600 race had a couple incidents, but so the heat definitely does seem like has come up a little bit.
And speaking about heat, Jason, that means it's time to take a look at our hot spots.
Yep, let's have a look at these, Greg. So thinking about the hot spots at this track for me were the first place I thought about was turn 1, only because it's kind of a very tricky entry into there. It takes a lot of nerve to make a pass into there because what happens is you can actually draft a little bit down this front straightaway, but then it's a big move to make a pass, and to make it stick is even more difficult. Then you go back up through turn 2 and 3, and then next spot is turn 4. And on these super bikes, you're trying to go up over the top of that wide open as best you can. And these bikes will definitely get a little bit out of shape as they come up over the top. Nowadays, we got a little bit more electronics that can help us with that, but you still can't see the outside edge of the track when you're holding the thing wide open going up over the top of that. Now, turn 5, Charlotte's Web, probably the most famous place that we see. We see a lot of photos and things down here, kind of the staple, if you will, of Barber Motorsports Park. We'll see a lot of different lines, and we'll really be able to see edge grip on the side of these bikes and who's got it towards the end of the race and who doesn't. It's a good turn to be able to watch a little bit of that stuff. Then for all the fans over there on that back portion of the track, we got this little chicane, turns 9, 10, 10, 11, I guess it would be, Greg, going through here. Very quick, fast, left and right that really sets you up going down into 10 or down into 12 and 13. Very tricky as well. I looked at the last set of hot spots are going to be the last big long rights that we have here at Barber. 14 through 16, you're on the edge of the tire all the way around. You can see guys can set each other up through that big long right-hander to do something with each other into the last left and then down to that front straightaway.
There's a good look at our Suzuki hotspots. Thank you, Jason Pridmore. And Motul Superbike class, by the way, is loaded with talent, and it's also loaded with personalities. I don't think none as energetic and enthusiastic when they're on the racetrack as this guy right here. We want to introduce you to our Motul profile, Danny Eslick.
This is a totally new program, guys that I've known and seen around but never really worked with, so it's been definitely a big learning year. We haven't had the results, obviously, that I want personally, or the team wants. I think the Hayes Brakes BMW is a more capable motorcycle than the results that we've given it this year. I've hit the ground a few times unexpectedly, and some stuff that was basically just kind of bonehead moves on my part. And when the team's got to go back and rebuild bikes and try to get back on the page one of going fast, and you knock them off with having to rebuild bikes, it sets everybody back. Getting a year under my belt on the bike and with the team to kind of learn, just everybody's characteristics of how everybody works is a big thing, and everybody gels really well under this tent. It's a small group of guys, a pretty small program. It's tight-knit little group, and I've enjoyed it. I've raced out of the 18-wheelers and the big teams and a lot of people, and it can get uptight around there, and this is a pretty laid-back atmosphere. Right now we're looking at maybe doing something for next season and hopefully be on that new BMW.
Oh, it'd be awesome to see him back
great.
in the paddock on that new BMW.
And I actually think Danny's done a really good job this year. I think that whole team has done a good job. They've been our primary and really only BMW in the field that's gone the full season. I know we got a couple more today the kid put it fourth today on the grid.
We can't hang around any longer at this moment, but we'll be back on the other side of this commercial break. Welcome back to Barber Motorsports Park. Let's get right to Hannah.
I'm here with the number 95 of Roger Hayden. It is the last race weekend of your professional career. How does it feel, and what are your goals for the weekend?
The goal is to do the best I can and hopefully try to put up a fight for the podium. Didn't qualify the best, but the Yoshimura Suzuki's been working pretty good this weekend. So looking forward to this race, and I just want to have fun and just enjoy it. It's the last one of my career, so try not to put too much pressure on myself, but at the same time, I'm still a competitive person.
Thank you, Roger. Best of luck out there.
All right, Roger, doing some good sector times. Jay, just talking about it, just wasn't able yet to put them all together.
And it'll be interesting to see what the actual race pace is here. I think 23.5, 23.9 on qualifying tires is obviously not going to be anything close to what these guys are going to be running. And if Tony and Raj and they can get those Yosh bikes kind of up there, we know they're going to. We know they're going to be close.
Yeah.
And see what Heron does. You can see he's pretty loose down there right now, having a laugh on the grid. So it'll just be interesting to see where Raj can get up there. I think he's going to be right in that little group that will be battling for the win.
So Josh Heron has his onboard camera pointing out the back. That's a treat for us this weekend. And you saw that front camera shot a moment ago. That's Cameron Bobier. So it's going to be those two Yamahas that'll have our onboard cameras as we sit there and try to strategically think, wait a second, who's going to be up front? Who's going to be behind? Does the camera go out front or back? But it's great to have onboard camera getting you inside the race action. And we know you want to be connected. Young fans out here all weekend long. By the way, Roger Hayden's family is showing up.
I saw Tommy running this morning.
Yeah, Tommy here.
He's jogging.
And Rose and Earl are here as well. It's great to see Earl. Here's a look at starting grid. Cameron Bobier, new track record, outright motorcycle track record here at Barber Motorsports.
Josh Heron second. Matthew Skoltz, great qualifying there to round out our first row. Then Danny Estick, Garrett Gerloff, Jake Lewis, fastest of the Suzukis on the outside of row 2. Then we go back to our defending national champion, Tony Illis, last weekend with that one. Roger Hayden and Cameron Peterson in row 3. Then we got Bobby Fong, Kyle Wyman, and David Anthony on row 4. On back to row 5, we got Jeff May. Good to see Jeff in the grid.
Yep.
Ben Young from Canada. Good to see Ben down here again. Max Flinders. And then rounding out the field, we got Bruno Silva and Sam Vergarico.
Jeff May had a couple of guest appearances earlier on in the season. He's here with his own motorcycle, a completely bone stock BMW that he rides at the club level. So Jeff expecting a little bit more than 13th out of himself in this race. He's got a lot of laps around Barber Motorsports Park in the time he's been a professional racer and a club racer as well. All right, so warm-up lap for the Motul Superbike class. And you can see we're looking at tire choices. One of the things that we love about this particular class is Dunlop has denoted those tires. We can see what they're running, the red stripe on the back of that one.
Yep.
It shows that that's the softest option that's available for race. And
I wonder if Danny Estick heard what Josh was saying about him and talking about it's good to have Danny there. He might be able to block some of those guys because right now I see Danny's just kind of glued on the back of Josh. You remember those guys had some history back in the 600 class days.
Yeah,
and I know
they
Josh
raced together once or twice.
Yeah, I know Josh didn't mean anything by it. I thought it was kind of funny that he said it, to be honest, because I think Danny's shown some real pace, and he gets good starts on that BMW most of the time. Hopefully I didn't just curse that for him.
Nah, I'm sure.
But he gets some good starts, and we'll see if he can mix it up with them.
All right, let's get our Cycle Gear last-minute report in and get right back down to Hannah. Oh, sorry about that. I jumped the gun on that one. Oh, there's David Anthony on that Kawasaki. Fly Racing. Good to have Fly in here. If you come to the MotoAmerica event, you can go by his truck and trailer, and they actually have some clothing out on display as well, which is nice. This is really the story, though, this Attack Yamaha. And when you look at Josh Heron's bike, a lot of people don't know it. We didn't talk about it last time we were racing, but that's actually a second iteration of swing arm that's created by Richard Stamboli in California. It's created by Richard by looking at data, and he says, listen, I want to make a little adjustment here and there. And it's mostly internal stuff, but they machine all the parts, and then they actually weld it all together. And in talking with Richard after it gets machined and all the parts are just laying out on the table, how long does it take to put a swing arm together? He said about 8 to 10 hours of welding to get that going. But they had it available at Pit Race for Josh, but Josh hadn't been to pit race before, so they left the bike the same and introduced it in New Jersey, and then blammo, they won a race.
And the last time we saw them, we didn't see him because he didn't get to start race 2.
Exactly.
So, but yeah, that's the greatest thing about having Richard Stamboli on your team. He never stops working. Here we go, Greg.
So it's time to get race number 1 of the Motul Superbike class underway. Cameron Beaubier, our pole sitter and new track record holder. Can he get the start he needs to control this race? It was a good run from Cam, but Josh Herron got a jackrabbit start, and he'll lead us into turn 1.
Danny Essick third. How about from the third row? Tony Elias is already up into 4th place. Danny's going to try to have a look around the outside right now of Cameron Beaubier. He's just to the left of what we can see here. Great onboard coverage from our cameras there on the back of Cameron Beaubier. They go up over the top of that rise, down into turn 4, and right now, Herron's going to lead them down into turn 5, and you can see that little group right behind.
So this is exactly the scenario Josh Herron wanted. Look, he wanted to get out front, controls pace. Is that into second place, Danny Essick?
He's trying right now, Greg. It'll be interesting to see if Cameron can hold that off. Cameron's going. Oh, Danny's in deep. He's in deep. He's going to get it turned. Look at that, Greg. That's so much bike control that he's able to get that bike slowed down because it's such a scary place going into that turn there.
There's some great work in Hayes' brakes on that one. It just
absolutely
stopped that wheel there in a moment. So Danny Essick on the BMW continues in third spot for the moment.
I watched Greg. Look at him trying to look up on the inside of Cameron as they head down into turn 12. I watched him yesterday, and he looked extremely racy. Looked really good on that bike, even as the tires started to go away just a little. And we got Matthew Skoltz back there in 5th. But here you go, some different lines as we look. Josh Herron's loving it right now. He gets out to the start that he always seems to have lately. He just gets off to such great starts, and he's already pulled himself a little bit of a gap over these 3 guys battling over second.
Yeah, I think the way that Josh Herron's been starting lately, really Pittsburgh is the outstanding start when it was kind of that wet conditions, and the tire selection for him is just the maturation to understand, like, hey, if I can do this lap time on the second lap or third lap, I'm good to go, and let's just get out there and set the pace. You can see Cam Beaubier starting to ease into the rhythm of this race right now, trying to close the gap on the race leader, Josh Herron. Attack Performance Herron Compound Yamaha. Beaubier.
There goes Raj. Raj goes up underneath. Rogers Hayden goes up underneath Matthew Skoltz. They head to turn 5, so he's also coming from that third row. Rogers making headway to the front. He's got his teammate Elias right in front of him. So good pass for Raj as they went down turn 5. Raj loves this place. He rides very good here. When I spoke to him at Sonoma, he said, Jay, Barber is circled on my calendar. I want to do well there. I know I go good there. It'd be a great way to send things off. So
yeah, before Super Bowl, Roger Hayden had the fastest MotoAmerica track record here until it was obliviated by Cameron Beaubier qualifying today, so he can rip around here.
Look at the purple. Look at the purple sectors, Greg, on our screen right now. We can look at the times and we can see that Cameron's gone purple all the way across the board.
This is just an impressive ride from Danny Essick right now. We know that he has the ability to latch on and follow, but in these 2 laps, he's really putting on. You can see, though, where Tony Elias, I think, doesn't have the rhythm that he really wants because he runs up on the back of Danny kind of going into the corners, and he's really looking to get by is the number 1 plate. Ooh, just bike completely unsettled going into
but he just letting go of the brake lever. That's fine. Danny looked good going into there. And the thing is, Greg, that BMW is not giving up anything really, it looks like, in horsepower-wise to the bikes around him. It looks fast. And see, if he goes good up over the top of here, Tony's going to have to do one of his patented go straight to the apex of the corner to try to pass some moves. And here you go. Tony goes up underneath him into turn 5. Is he going to be able to turn it? Danny will try to go back up underneath him. It's exactly what he's doing. Now it's going to be a drag race down to that turn 7 spot that we saw earlier. And all the while, Hayden's coming up behind these 2 as well. Tony gets the pass completed. As he goes in, he's got the bike still slowed down.
So Danny with a quick look over his shoulder to see if anyone else was going to attack him. So comfortably in 4th spot is Danny Essick. Josh Herron, man, he's really putting a stamp on this championship towards the end of the season here. Getting this whole thing sorted out. Josh Herron already with 2 wins on the season, trying to go for another one. And by the way, it's been 2 wins in those last 4 races for the 3rd place in points, Josh Herron. But Cameron Beaubier is looking pretty sharp at the moment. Not huge chunks of time that Cameron Beaubier is getting, although Herron has definitely heard the pressure, felt the pressure from Cameron Beaubier in the last couple sectors. Green for him.
Yep, and we're looking at the lap times, 25.7 again, 26 flat, so Herron again, still 3/10. You can see he turns into turn 1 just a little bit early, but man, he gets that thing fired up out of turn 1 to turn 2 very nicely. Bike looks really solid underneath Herron right now. It looks good as he's Comes out of turn 3, up over 4. Cameron is just going to, Cameron knows he's got a lot of laps to try to chip away at this lead. So, you know, there's a reason why he's won the Superbike Championship so many times. You can see very uncharacteristic. That bike backed in on him there, and he missed his actual turn-in spot, but he gets the thing stopped in the middle of the corner, still able to get out where he wants it to, but you can see that apex, that beginning apex, Greg, he was off of it just a little bit there.
Cameron Beaubier talking about the change in his season. You know, there's only 2 races to go. We're obviously in the middle of the second to last race in this one, and if you looked at the way this championship started to unwind, it was Tony Elias won 5 of the first 6 races, and we all thought it was over. Then when we got to that 4th round of the championship, Road America, things changed because Dunlop introduced new rear tire. We talked about it ad nauseum, about the new big rear tire, 14 millimeters disc. But for Cameron Beaubier, it was really a front tire, a new softer front option that was available from Dunlop that gave him the feel and the controllability that he wanted out of the front end.
Raj goes up underneath Danny. See if Danny fires back. He's not going to be able to do it just there. So Raj, again, drops up, gets another spot up to 4th. Sorry, Greg, go on.
No, because now I'm thinking with Roger Hayden, he was a lot closer to Tony, but it took him a little while to get by Danny Eslick. Now he's got to go chase after his teammate, and that is a big gap. And Tony's looking like he's starting to put some pressure on Cam Beaubier.
Yeah, he does. It looks like all the front 3 guys are starting to close up just a little bit. Looking at that last lap, 26 flat for Herron, 25s for the guys right behind him in 2nd and 3rd. So, you know, the thing about Josh that you know, early in his career, the MO was he could only follow, he couldn't lead. He's really fixed that over the last 5 years of his career in the sense that he's now able to go out and lead races and push the pace and do the lap times. And I know that was something that we've heard him talk about in years past that he's really been working on. But to see he's gone 25.7 is his best. Now he's in a spot, though, where he's really got to continue to get forward because the 2 guys behind him are starting to close in ever so slightly.
Roger Hayden, about half a lap ago, was able to get around Danny Eslick, the number 69. Right behind Danny, of course, is Matthew Skultz, a multi-time race winner in Superbike class as well in that Yamalu Westby Racing Yamaha. So Hayden looking for a podium to try to wrap up his career in Superbike racing, just in road racing in general. As Danny Eslick looked like he left the door open for a second for Skultz.
Rogers just kind of doing the same splits as the guy in front of him right now, the guys in front of him, with the exception of Sector 4. He just lost about 0.4 of a second in that sector. So the guys at the top 3 right now have a little bit of pace over our battle for 4th here. Danny hasn't let Raj get too far away, and he's got Skultz right up behind him, pushing him forward as well.
You can see that Roger Hayden is wearing a custom helmet for this weekend. If you're interested to find out what's on that helmet, check out Roger's social media. He's got some close-up photos on what's on that helmet because it is extremely detailed in what is on that lid.
Yeah, you can see Matthew looked like he had the notion to try to go past Danny down into turn 5, but Eslick's really good on the brakes down there. So it's going to take something a little special for Matthew. It's going to be something like what Raj did, probably in that turn 14 through 16 area, where he might try to turn his bike up underneath Danny. He's going to have to be close enough when they go up over the top of that rise between turn 13 and 14.
Behind this battle is Garrett Gerloff, the number 31. He's in 7th spot. I think we were expecting a little bit more from Garrett, just because when the day ended on Friday, he was the fastest led a session. And had an okay qualified 5th, so maybe not a great start for Garrett Gerloff.
I really thought that after he was quickest on that Friday that we might see something from him here. Look at this, Greg. Tony now has clawed up to the back of Cameron Beaubier, so these guys, I think he's going to try to go down the inside. He's going to do it too. They set that up way further back. So here we go again with Tony and Cameron, and Tony feels like he's got the pace to go forward right now. We're looking at 26 flat to 25.9, 26.4 for Cameron. So
this might be what Cam needs.
Yep.
Just to drag him up to a 3-way battle for the number 1 position. Tony set sail after Josh Herron. He was just a 10th quicker, but he had to do that lap time. He was a 10th quicker than Josh Herron, but he had to do that lap time by passing Cameron Beaubier.
Yeah, but I agree with you. Going back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, Tony's in too deep in turn 5, way wide, but he's probably going to be able to square it up and still hold it. There he goes. He cuts across the front of Cameron. But that's just getting in there too deep, trying to make up time. So that's going to give Herron a little bit more breathing room. But I really did think that Garrett was going to be up with these lead guys on Friday. Yesterday, he was making it look so easy. So, you know, not sure if he's got a little problem back there or what the case might be. But, yeah, well, hopefully he can get himself forward for tomorrow. And here we go, Greg, just getting down into turn 5 a little bit too fast, trying to make up time in that spot down there. We'll always get it to where you run in there a little bit wide. We always see even the best guys make the biggest mistakes in the slow turns, and that was just simply getting in there a little bit too quick.
Yeah, trying to make up time in the slow corner. It's that old adage, right? Go slow in the slow stuff and fast in the fast stuff.
Yes.
Tony's gathered it back up, and now he's trying to go for it again. But we'll see what happened with lap times, because it looked like he lost maybe half a second, but has already made that half a second back up in this last half of the lap.
That's very astute of you, because if you look at sector 4, he went 15.3 to Heron, 15 flat for Tony. So he made up half second in the last 2 sectors, Greg. So yeah, he did lose a half second in that first one, and then he picked those up right towards the end there. And we're only on lap 8 of 21. So Tony's obviously got a very good race package underneath him this morning in qualifying. When we saw him qualify on the 3rd row, we both kind of looked at each other and thought, well, we haven't seen that very much. But on race tires, his bike's ready to go. And here we go a little bit further back. Matthew Schultz has got by both Danny Eslick and Raj, huh?
Yeah, that was a little bit of a shot going on there. Ooh, up and out of the saddle. So Schultz on his way forward.
I wonder if something, who knows if something happened, but when we looked just now, Schultz was, a bike length or 2 behind Danny, and 3 or 4 bike lengths behind Raj. I'm not sure if maybe Raj ran wide somewhere or something.
You can start to see that Danny Eslick's bike starting to spin. On the acceleration up the hill last time, it was pumping.
And through here, through here. You can see Matthew just ran over that inside curbing in the right. Got the bike turned so quick, he just ran over that inside curbing and it shoved him out wide just a little.
So for Matthew Schultz.
Here you go, Greg. We're going to see something here. It looks like Matthew's probably going to go up underneath. So earlier, a couple laps ago, I said that would probably be the spot where he would have to give it a go. Mm-hmm. And then I'm not sure where he got by Raj, because you saw there was a gap there between him and Raj. So interesting to see what happened there.
0.7 of a second to lead for Josh Heron over Tony Elias. And Cameron Bobier is not really making up any ground, so he's still a half a second back on Tony Elias.
The thing about what Josh Heron's doing right now is he's ran 25.7 to 26 flat every single lap of this race so far. I've not seen him vary any more than those 3/10. He went 25.7 as his best, and I've seen as much as a 26 flat. But other than that, this is what you have to do to your competition. If you can keep the pressure on and keep running those lap times, lap after lap after lap, even if you have +0 on your board, if you can keep doing that, it puts pressure on the guys behind you to duplicate that exact same thing.
13 laps remaining in this race. Tony Elias, the number 1 plate, just ahead of the guy who he handed the number 1 plate over to, Cameron Bobier. This is the way it's been up front. Josh Heron got out to a jackrabbit start. Tony Elias coming from all the way back on row number 3, qualified in 7th spot. He got that typical start that we thought he would get. But I think this is the surprise of the race, the biggest surprise of the race. There's a couple. I thought Danny Eslick's start was awesome. That was a bit of a surprise, but the pace of Cameron Bobier right now is a little shocking to me. I thought he had more, a better race setup than what he's showing right now.
All right, so Greg, we got 12 laps to go. So let's hold that a second.
Is this where you're going?
Let's hold back a minute here, because I know Cameron, and there's one thing. The guys in second, third, you can never count out, and the guy leading will not just give up. He is a fighter, so this is just really making its way forward, because I'm looking at the lap times. 26.1 that time. The 2 guys behind, 25.7, 25.9 for Cameron and Elias. So they're coming forward, and I really do think that Cameron knows that if Tony gets to the back of Heron, there could be some dicing things up. It's going to bring Cameron right back into play. You can see Tony's in deep again. He's going to run it out there. This time he's going to be able to get it closed back up. But you can see Greg just making up that time on the entry. It's just getting him in there a little bit too deep, a little bit too fast. He only lost a 10th in that little sector, though, doing that.
I'm just thinking to myself of what's coming right here. The storm that's coming, the fight between these 2 riders. They definitely have some, Josh Heron and Tony Elias have some on-track history. Both of them just crazy good on the race strategy and the race fighting.
Yep. Tony's bike looks like it's turning in on the fast corners extremely well. Like, he looks like he can just be very defiant on where he wants the bike to go. And that's where this little gap has closed up going into turn 12 to 13. Look how good his bike's turning right now. See how she's kind of carving through there, Greg? He's carving through there very nice. And he's a little bit tighter here. Let's see if he loses anything on the exit to Heron. He doesn't really lose a lot. So he's able to go. Look at the speed of the Yosh bike as he comes down and he gets up alongside almost. So there's a lot of speed in that Yosh bike right now over the attack bike as they came down the front straightaway that particular lap.
Good draft, too.
Yeah.
And a great shot from our onboard camera to show us exactly the way Tony likes to get into that draft.
And now,
there's Tony. Oh.
He's close enough now to try to do something with him down in turn 5. So Cameron Beaubier ran the fastest sector, last sector or fourth sector time. Look, he's right back in it now.
Yeah, but Tony wasn't on the attack right there because, usually we've seen him go straight to the apex. I think Tony's really trying to figure out how to get into turn 5. Maybe he's thinking 5's not the answer to get around Josh Herrin at the moment.
Well, when they come into this, they're going to go through this little section here. They're going to go through the museum corner, and then they're going to go through this little left-right chicane. The turn after that, which is turn 12, for all those of you on the back straightaway over there, that's where Tony looks like he has a little bit of an edge on tip-in on Herrin. So this right here, Josh is really fast through. But you'll see the Yosh bike probably close up a little bit, and then in this next left, you can see how you can almost visibly see how he closes in. You see how he closes in through this little area as well.
You could try it onto the front straightaway, that last left-hander onto the front straightaway where he got Beaubier.
Yep.
If
and that's
Josh
what he's trying to do right now.
Open.
He's trying to carry that speed. Now, Herrin was doing this to them last year.
Yeah.
Josh Herrin was and here we go. Tony has a look.
Oh,
not
it's too
quite
tight,
close
too
enough.
tight. Oh.
But Herrin last year he was really good through that last sector. He was past those guys. I'm not sure what's going on there.
His foot might be hot, but usually you don't do that on that side. Usually it's the pipe side where the foot gets hot.
Not sure what's going on there at all. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But see, this is where Tony now, if he can just kind of stay on the back of Herrin, he's going to be closer this time, Greg, as they go. Look at Herrin's bike. Really good up through this section.
An interesting little leg out. Usually that indicates the rider slowing down. Hand off the bar, leg out. That might have thrown Tony for a loop for a second. In Charlotte's Web. You see that difference. Josh Herrin looking great under braking. And Beaubier has closed that gap up. So like you're saying, there's no real panic in Cameron Beaubier at the moment.
Yep. And I'm not really sure why Josh is taking his legs off the bike. So not really seen him do that before. So
lap times have dropped by about a second, by the way.
Maybe his feet are getting hot. Not sure. He's gone.
That's what I'm thinking. I mean,
he's gone and look back now, and he's.
I'm sure you've done it before when your foot gets hot.
Ooh. Had a couple bikes.
A little slide there out of Herrin.
Yep. But he just looked back and saw that these guys are, right behind him. I'm sure he's getting +0 on his board every lap. So this is them coming up over the top of the hill. You can see Cameron's out on that on the curving like he was. Look at Tony
steering it with the rear tire, Jason.
Yep, and he makes the pass. Herrin's going to fight right back though when they go into this next left. So there you go.
Herrin gets it down to the apex.
And who's going to help?
Throttle. Yeah, exactly. He's going to help Cameron Beaubier. So it looks like Elias is going to get around him on the straightaway. And so Tony, side by side they go. Is Herrin going to give it up?
Nope, he's not. He's going to keep fighting. Oh! That's what you got to love about him. He knows that extra pavement's out there, Greg. So now he'll probably try to fire right back. If I know Josh, he's going to probably try to do some of his bikes really good up over the top of this rise as he gets really loose at the bottom of the hill.
He's starting to spin.
Yep, he is starting to spin a little bit.
Oh, Tony, he didn't get that one down. He was really struggling to get it down into the gear. He's super, super wide. Herrin trying to hold his line. Tony out in no man's land.
But he's going to square it up, Greg. He'll get that thing squared up and probably be able to still hold that gap.
Yeah.
Look at Herrin letting off the brakes going into this turn. Tony's backing it in there. It is such a sketchy little spot. What a race we got at the front right now. And Cameron the whole time, here's his view. This is Cameron Beaubier's view, watching these two guys going after each other.
So Josh Herrin loses the lead for the moment. Tony Elias, with a big moment in turn 5, is able to gather it back up and hold on to the lead. Herrin looking for a place right now. Nope.
This is where Tony's bike is so good. He gets into that left-hander off the end of the back straightaway and can turn it immediately through turn 13. But see how Herrin actually holds a little tighter lineup over the top. Now they're both kind of running the same line.
See if Herrin's made this move before the transition room. Tony's able to close it up.
Last year he was doing it lap after lap to Tony. So Tony's going to know that move is there. It could possibly be coming. Now the times have gone 26.2 to 26.4. So they're kind of in the low 26s now.
8 to go. Tony Elias leads the way. Yoshimura Suzuki to Josh Herrin in third spot on that Attack Performance Herrin compound machine. And then you have your new national champion, Cambodia, and that Monster Energy Yamalube Yamaha factory racing machine. Skoltz, Hayden, and Lewis behind. Lewis has gotten around Danny Eslick. Oh, Herrin.
But that's okay. He's out a little bit wide, but he'll get the bike stood up. He's not going to lose that much time, Greg, because it's okay to kind of disregard the first apex of turn 5 as long as you can get the bike stopped in the middle of that corner. And Cameron
no
Beaubier,
way!
Huge crash, Greg. Turn 6, such a sketchy place. And if you get in there and you lose the front like that, that is a big crash from Cameron Beaubier. I'm just hoping he's going to be okay.
So Cameron Beaubier, with a huge crash, takes himself out of podium contention.
He's up.
And Cam is up.
We hear he's up.
Yeah. He's definitely up. And he's walking away from the incident. So that's going to move Matthew Skoltz into a podium position at the moment. Herron very wide.
Yeah, Herron he must have maybe lost the front at the bottom of that little hill there, did Herron, because he just moved out wide a little bit in the middle. Cameron's shaking his head, and you're going to see it in the background here, Greg. He just loses the front. You can see it's already, actually, it looks like the front.
Rear.
Yeah, I think the front probably went, and then the rear came around with it. That's probably what would be my guess. But right here, this is a scary position to be in as a rider when you're going backwards and your bike starts to flip in front of you. So I'm actually happy that he got away from that motorcycle. But yep, you can see the front
went first.
Front went first, and then the rear just kind of followed. So, and that could be, like you kind of called it earlier. It looked like Cameron was not struggling to keep that pace, but it kind of looked like he just wasn't able to do it as easy as the other two.
Yeah. I mean, it's when you know Cameron Beaubier has a dialed-in motorcycle, it's something. Look at Josh Herron.
Something's going on with Herron now. Like something might be. He's like sitting up in the background. Tony's opened up a huge gap this lap specifically, like a really, really big gap.
Herron didn't have race posture. He was just
he was sitting up.
Yeah.
And Tony just looked back and realized, well, that's weird.
Where'd everybody go?
Yep. And there's Herron. He's head back down again, but he lost 3/10 in the first split, and but it looks like he's got his head back down again.
Yeah, but Herron's looking around, so you could tell normally when a rider. Josh Herron usually doesn't give up, and I'm not saying he's given up, but if there is an issue with it and he's looking around saying, okay, look, there's 7 laps to go. Do I have enough whatever? Do I have enough tire? Do I have enough motorcycle to get this thing around and finish second?
The last lap, Greg, he went 26.5. There's a good look at Cameron. Glad to see he's okay. But Herron's got both feet off the pegs coming down the straightaway. His feet must be on fire or something. That's a great call on your part. Now we got this battle back here for third between Matthew Skoltz. They're going to have seen that one of the 3 leaders had crashed. They might not know who it was, but now you got Matthew Skoltz, and he's got Roger Hayden all over the back of him. They come down through turn 2 and 3. We'll see what Roger's got from Matthew as they come down into the turn 5 area. Nothing Raj would love more than to put it on the podium in the last race of his career here at Barber, last weekend, I should say. Roger's bike still looks really good.
I was just looking at that. I was looking at just kind of the attitude of the bike and the spin of it all. Matthew definitely doesn't have this one, in the bank at all. And Roger knows that podium's so close. Yeah, he lost a little time there.
Not just a little bit, but man, Matthew's a big guy, so he's wide. And you can see he runs over that inside curbing on the left-hand side that time. Matthew did.
This is the battle for third place. Matthew Skoltz with the exit of Cameron Beaubier, our national champion for 2018. Put Matthew Skoltz in third place. Roger Hayden right behind him. Nothing more than Suzuki would love to have 2 Suzukis on the podium after the qualifying efforts of Yamaha. 1, 2, 3 on the grid. Roger Hayden has it within his grasp at the moment, but just losing a couple of tenths here and a couple of tenths there. When they went by the stripe, Roger actually got a 10th back on that total lap. So Roger's in a good position. Here's where he's really strong. You think he's going to try to fight him maybe in turn number 5 and try to get that Yoshimura Suzuki GSX-R 1000 in front of Skoltz.
They're still running in the 26s, as is Jake Lewis in 5th place right now. Jake Lewis is also running in the 26s. So, yeah, I mean, right now, just looking at Roger's bike, and you can see as it comes off this turn, he still has pretty good grip out of there. And once the bike gets rolling, he's got horsepower on the Westby bike right now as they head down into that turn 7-8 area.
I guess the question is, if it's second place isn't within sight right now, and this is the battle for third. As you can see, Skoltz getting a little sideways as the rear tire spinning underneath him. If you're Roger Hayden, what's the urgency, right? I mean, is there really an urgency to do it unless someone's coming up from behind him, challenging him for position? You see there's no one in the background. Jake Lewis about 13 seconds back from, actually about 3.6 seconds back from Roger Hayden. Yeah,
Jake's riding great, 26.7. I'm not sure if Jake got a little bit of a bad start because he's essentially running the same lap times as the two guys directly in front of him, but he just can't quite close that gap.
Great shot at the lean angle. Matthew Skoltz carries on his Yamaha. There's a look at the board. James on the duties for Roger.
And they're both coming into a couple of back markers just in front of them. Bruno Silva and San Federico. Got to see Tony Elias and Josh Herron that last lap. These two guys are going to catch these guys down in the turn 5 area. And Raj actually looks a little bit closer this time, Greg, as they come down into this turn. Not quite close enough still. But what's going to happen out of here, because they're going to catch both those guys. Tremendous job by Federico and Bruno Silva to just kind of move out of the way. Those two guys are racing for position as well. But those two guys did a good job. Now they can continue their fight with each other.
Tony Elias, 2.5-second lead over Josh Herron, who continues to circulate. A 26.8 for him. Same lap times that Matthew Skoltz and Roger Hayden are doing. So no threat from those two in catching second place at the moment. We only have 4 laps remaining. But obviously, hats off to the champion of this race, Tony Elias. Tony qualified in the 7th spot. Had a great start and methodically worked his way to the front. Just a testament to this team, Jason, as we take a look at the Dunlop tire selection that Tony, he chose that soft front with that extra soft rear, and it's proving to be the combination, the race-winning combination for this one, if he can hold on for another 3.5 laps.
And that lap by 26.3. The time before, he was 7/10 quicker than Josh. This time now, he's almost a full second. So, yeah, for sure, whatever's bothering Josh with his feet or whatever it is, has definitely slowed him down. The pace that he set at the beginning was so super fast and consistent. So, but now Tony's got this race. He's going to manage his board. He's going to look at what the guys are putting out there. And you're not going to see any more mistakes in this corner, Greg. Look at how nice he gets that bike slowed down, nice and tight all the way around and through it. And his bike, just like Raj's, it looks like he has a lot of grip. And there's a...
Yikes.
Man, Cameron's bike looks like it definitely doesn't look good there.
It needs a Band-Aid. Here's Cameron's onboard shot.
Yeah. Front goes, rear follows. And, you know, I've seen cases where that front goes, the rear comes around and snaps. Just happy to see that didn't happen. And even though he kind of hit his head, it wasn't a big blow on the grass. Easy for me to say from here.
Yeah, right.
But it wasn't like his body coiled and snapped his head onto the ground. So that's a good sign.
That's a
just a bummer to see that.
That's a yard sale right there. His crew is going to have a lot of work to do tonight on that motorcycle. Or if there's anything left, they got to just start from scratch. So a long night for his crew. But for Josh Herron, it's been a very interesting race. I mean, he got off to an incredible start and looked like he might have it in hand, but seen him take his feet off the pegs, both feet off the pegs. We're speculating it's heat, but I think, Jason, you and I both have been through that situation.
He's hurt. Whatever it is, he's hurt. Because
yeah.
You can see him sitting up, and I feel bad for the guy because he rode so good here at the start. He's still, I mean, look, the guy's been putting it on the podium. It's been, well, here you go, Greg. Roger Hayden goes up underneath Matthew Skoltz. They come out of the last corner. Now the race is on for third. Matthew's going to be looking for a way by to get back past Roger Hayden. So Roger's going to have to put it, maybe Roger feels like that was the time to go and try to put his head down for a lap or so. Get a little, you can see Matthew's bike moving really bad out of there.
Yeah, no lack of trying. He's opening up that throttle, and the rear tire is just spinning up a little bit. So Hayden controlling the inside line. Make no mistake, Roger Hayden's been coming to this racetrack since we started coming here back in 2003.
And you see how patient he was. Just make sure the bike gets turned. I think Raj knows he's got a little bit of horsepower over Matthew down that next little straightaway. Matthew's going to run it up into here as hard as he can.
Might not even
try
be
to get close enough.
Might not be just horsepower. It just has
Grip.
drivability.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just so much grip right now.
Yep.
In Roger's bike. Just, I mean, I know that he's just wide open throttle, and it just doesn't look like that bike is spinning and definitely not pumping as much.
Look how good it looks out of there. I mean, Roger's bike is actually working very well right now. Looks a lot like Tony's. Tony's bike was carved really nicely. So Matthew, and all up over the top of this hill, this will be another spot where you'll be able to really look at grip. And Matthew's bike doesn't look too bad there.
So the Roger Hayden retirement tour continues as Hayden has put himself in a great position to stand on the podium. White flag out, final lap of this race, and Tony Elias has this one well in hand, 26-4. So he continues to push the issue, but in a comfortable way. Uh-oh.
What happened here?
Roger made a mistake.
I don't know if Roger made a mistake or if these two guys got together. That was strange because all we know is that we saw Matthew look back over his shoulder when they came through there. You can see Jake Lewis is coming.
I spoke too early.
I wonder if Matthew went up underneath him in the left, coming onto the front straightaway. Either way, Matthew Skoltz now is looking like the podium guy. But with Matthew looking back, like he did. Kind of makes me wonder if something cheeky happened down there in the last corner. So we'll have to see.
So Roger Hayden was in third and now in fourth spot. So it's Tony Elias, Josh Herron now 5.8 seconds back. Matthew Skoltz another 6 seconds back from Herron on this final lap. But it's this man, the number 1 plate, Tony Elias, in his second to last race, carrying that number 1 plate. No word yet if he's back racing in the MotoAmerica Series for next season. All intentions are as he throws a wheel in the air because he knows he's having a lot of fun winning this race. If he'll be back, that's the big question mark. But for Tony Elias, Jason, as he comes onto the front straightaway here in a moment, this will be race win number 8 on the season, which will tie he and Cam Beaubier for the most wins for 2018. So Tony Elias takes victory here at Barber Motorsports Park and his 8th victory of the year. Checkered flag flies. Josh Herron comes across the line, and as does Matthew Skoltz in a comfortable
Matthew.
third position.
Great job from Skoltz there, and you can see Jake Lewis was closing in on both those guys towards the end of the race. 26 is still for Jake Lewis. Let's see, Danny Eslick comes across in 6th, and Gerloff is going to come across in 7th.
Jake Lewis, his fastest lap of the race, faster than Matthew Skoltz's fastest lap of the race. So for Jake Lewis, he'll be credited with the 4th fastest lap. So he had 26.5 by Tony. Sorry, 25.630 for Tony as the fastest lap of the race. That was back on lap 5. Josh Herron did a 25.7 as his fastest lap of the race, then a 26 flat for Roger. So those are 1, 2, 3. But all the credit goes to this guy right here. What a race strategy, how he pushed and how he was able to mop up the mistakes that he made early on.
I'm not sure. I'm still looking at Herron's posture, and I don't think he's looking at the front tire there. I think
no, I just think he's hurt.
Yeah, something looks like he just looks uncomfortable.
And we didn't see where he had like a big moment where something got slapped.
Nope.
We've all had that happen, seen that happen before. Up and out of the saddle, you might hurt yourself, or foot comes off or something. So
maybe cramp.
Yeah, maybe cramp.
You see how he's putting his leg out. Sometimes you can get cramping, and it could have been something to do with that as well.
Yeah, hydration critical. I mean, you're talking about wrestling around a 220 plus horsepower motorcycle. 400 plus pounds or 355 pound motorcycle with all that horsepower around this track for 21 laps. It takes a lot out of you. Tremendous athletes, these riders.
There's the battle of the Hondas back there. Bobby Fong was just able to nip Cameron Beaubier by Cam Peterson.
Yep.
It's the Cameron thing again, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Half a second. Kyle Wyman ended up finishing 10th there.
So it's Tony Elias, Josh Herron, Matthew Skoltz, Roger Hayden in 4th, Jake Lewis in 5th. Danny Eslick was able to hold on to 6th place ahead of Garrett Gerloff.
And here we go. So he goes up, just kind of ran into the side of Raj, and Raj ended up off into the grass. Kind of figured something like that happened. When you see a rider look back to make sure the other guy's still on the track, that's kind of what I kind of figured might have happened there, Greg. And let's not forget, those two guys came together at Pittsburgh as well. And, so.
I can't wait for Hannah to talk to Josh Herron. I just want to find out what happened with him. So there's a look at the results. Bottom of your screen, you can see there that just behind Garrett Gerloff was Bobby Fong and Cam Peterson. Like Jason said, the battle of the Hondas. Genuine Broster Chicken Honda team. Peterson just a half a second behind his teammate Fong. Kyle Wyman in 10th, David Anthony in 11th, Jeff May in 12th, Ben Young, Max Flinders, Bruno Silva, San Puerto Rico, and our DNF of the race, Cameron Beaubier. We'll take a break. We'll be back to Barber Motorsports Park with more on the other side of this. We're back at Barber Motorsports Park, which means Motul Superbike race is over, so we go down to Hannah.
I'm here with our third place finisher, Matthew Skoltz. Matt, going into the last lap, Roger was actually in front of you, and then coming out of that corner, we saw you looking back, and he was behind you. Tell us what happened.
He passed me, and there was one lap left, basically, so I just couldn't help myself. I had to try to pass him. And unfortunately, we touched. I'm sorry to Rog. Both of us ran out super wide. But I'm just happy to be back up on the podium. Thank you so much to the Yomlu Westby guys. Thank you to Brian Living Good for building the engines. It was really, really great. And throughout practice, we were pretty off the pace, but we found something. So, thank you so much. I'm so thankful to be back up on the podium spot here.
Congratulations. Thank you, Matt.
Matthew Skoltz, his 8th podium appearance of the season. Great ride for the South African.
And he did find something this morning, because for him to put that bike in third today was a good effort. Here's a little touch that he's talking about. Both guys getting in there, but Raj didn't have really much of a choice, and he ended up getting run onto the grass a little bit. But the Yamalube Westby team did do a good job on getting a more competitive package underneath him so he could battle for that podium.
All right, let's get back down to Hannah, who has Josh Herron, his 6th second-place finish of the year.
I am here with Josh Herron. Josh, crazy race for you. We started to notice you kind of lost Tony there a little bit, and Greg and Jason were speculating for a lot of the time. You looked kind of uncomfortable or almost like you were sitting up. What was going on there with you?
Yeah, just with the schedule that we had at Laguna, racing World Superbike and the MotoAmerica stuff, I just had a muscle get pulled that weekend. I didn't have time to let it recover. It's like, so the races have been fine, but when we come to a track like this where there's long rights, it kind of puts a strain on my back, and it just kind of started cramping up, and I didn't want to let it explode or something and really bad, save it for tomorrow. And the guys behind were, we had a big gap, so I just kind of rolled off. It was a bummer because I felt really good. Tony was pressuring us for sure, but I felt like if it didn't happen, we could have at least tried to be there. But, hey, we always got tomorrow. We've had a really good year. And I think this is like our 10th or 11th podium, so I'm happy. It's just one of those things I need a little bit of time for it to heal instead of every weekend traveling, sitting in a plane, riding. So thanks, everybody, for coming out. It's pretty hot today. Luckily, I got to cool off there the last half of the race, so I'll feel a little bit better tomorrow. But, yeah, thanks, everybody, for coming out. Thanks to the whole Attack Yamaha team, and we'll go after them tomorrow.
Thanks, Josh. Congrats.
Outstanding, and he said 11th podium appearance this season for Josh Herron and his team.
Great effort, and yeah, you could definitely tell that something was just sore or cramp or whatever the case was. But yeah, that was a big weekend for him at Laguna, and hopefully he can get hydrated, be ready for tomorrow. And if that little cramp comes back, tomorrow's the last one. He's going to throw the kitchen sink at it. So I know he's going to want to win again. But if you can't win, you got the next best spot.
Well, this next rider has won 23 career MotoAmerica Superbike races, and his 8th of the season. He's with Hannah.
Now, P7 is the furthest back we've seen you qualify this season. Fought your way to the top step of the podium. How'd you do it?
Yes, honestly, I didn't expect had that bad qualifying, but was the first time we use the new setup with qualifying tires, and was all the good things for long distance and for the race were so bad things for the qualifying. So we learned a lot. I was confident to have a good start and step by step coming back, and was very strange because I was thinking Yamaha guys use the same tire as our tire, so but in the last moment I saw they use the extra soft, so I said, wow, this is the best thing. I knew that tire since Friday. I just could make 4 or 5 laps, no more. In 4 or 5 laps was gone, so I was pretty confident with the soft. So was the right choice, the right strategy. We work so good. My team make an incredible job. They give me super good setup. I felt like the first 5-6 races of the season, so very happy, and at the end the result confirmed my feelings of yesterday, so perfect. Let's finish like this tomorrow, and wish good luck everyone, and especially Roger Hayden, because will be the last race.
Thanks, Tony.
So Tony notching Suzuki's 202nd Superbike win since Superbike started here in the United States, and he does it in fine style. And Tony's saying it's tire choice, and every one of his competitors will be looking at that tomorrow, including Cameron Beaubier.
Yeah, no question. And when you go to the grid and you're getting yourself well, they're on a lot different tires. But it just goes to show the effort that the team puts in and Dunlop puts in. He knew what he had underneath him, and he was ready to go.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back to Barber Motorsports Park for more of our post-race coverage after this. MotoAmerica is presented by Dunlop. Dunlop motorcycle tires are the official tire of MotoAmerica. And powered by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. Well, that was some race, and let's take a look at the moment of the race. Jason, what do you think this is? Oh, the pass for the lead.
Pass for the lead, and then the repass. I knew that Josh wasn't going to give up, but he kind of got squared up a little bit, and Tony was able to get the bike upright a little bit sooner coming down this front straightaway, and just edge Josh out in turn 1. But you think he's going to give up? Nope, he's not going to give up. Tony just ran the way he needed to run, but it shows a lot of awareness on Heron's part there too. He knew that there was a little bit extra pavement out there that he could run out onto, and then he ran very wide here, but it didn't really matter because he was able to still get the bike squared up and drag Josh down into turn 8 area here.
And that pretty much was the race. For that one, Tony Elias took it home from that point forward. Look at the championship with Cameron's exit. The gap closes to 56, although Cameron already has, the national championship with only 25 points available left in the season. 370 to 314, Josh Herron with a comfortable lead in third over Matthew Skultz. Gerloff, Jake Lewis back there, and then you have a little close battle between Roger and Kyle, and Danny Eslick in the 9th place spot. As we look back through the field, Jason, I think all our eyes now are on the final race of Roger Hayden tomorrow. Can he take what he's learned today and put that thing on the podium? He would love, as well as all his fans, his family's going to be here or are here, for him to stand on the podium for his final race.